So hi, I'm Chris from Foundation Podiatry. I just wanted to have a chat about footwear today. As a podiatrist, we often are having lengthy conversations with our patients about the type of footwear to choose and how to find the right shoe. It's close to impossible sometimes when you walk into a shoe shop and you see all the shoes that are available to even know where to start. But the most important thing that we want to make sure of with any shoe is that it's got the correct fit. We'll find more often than not that when we're not wearing the right size shoe, so if we're in a shoe that's too small for us, how much of an impact that has on how we might be walking or our mechanics, when we're trying to sort of fit our foot into a smaller space than what it's taking up. It can mean that we really change what we do with our foot, and that can create some issues. Similarly, if the shoe's too big, it can mean that we get far too much movement. Our foot has to work a little bit harder. Often things like the muscles that control our toes are working harder just to try and sort of keep our balance and stability because the shoe's a bit too big. So when we are looking at the correct fit for a shoe, you can have your foot measured so that we can see what size the shoe is and what size shoe you should be looking at. And that's measured with a particular device. It's called a Brannoek Device. Some shoe shops have them, other shoe shops don't have them. But essentially it should be that when you're being measured, it'll measure your right foot and your left foot. It will look for sort of length of your foot to come up with the length, the sort of actual size, as well as the width of your foot to improve the width fitting as well. But one of the things that you can do in the absence of that, when you have the shoe that you're looking at, or even your own shoe that you've got right now sitting in your wardrobe at home, you can check to make sure that you're in the right size shoe by simply taking out the insole from the shoe. Most of them come out really simply and really easily. And what we're going to do is we're just going to place our foot on top of the inner sole as if our foot is inside the shoe. So if I just now sort of place my foot right back where the heel is there, and I've now got all my weight on that so that I'm standing with my other foot on the other side there. The key things I'm looking for, one of the things that happens more often than not is that we're in a shoe that's perhaps not wide enough for our foot. And so if there's any potential for the foot to be overhanging over the edge of the shoe, given that the inner sole is giving us that exact template of how much space and room is in the shoe, right back where the heel is there, and I've now got all my weight on that so that I'm standing with my other foot on the other side there. The key things I'm looking for, one of the things that happens more often than not is that we're in a shoe that's perhaps not wide enough for our foot. And so if there's any potential for the foot to be overhanging over the edge of the shoe, given that the inner sole is giving us that exact template of how much space and room is in the shoe, if my foot is too wide for the inner sole, then chances are the upper of the shoe, so this part of the shoe through here, will then be pushing against my foot, trying to keep me into the profile of the platform of the shoe. As opposed to, if it's too big, my foot will sort of overhang over the edge of the shoe, sort of making it quite challenging to actually ensure that my mechanics is still quite good. So, just with my foot in position there, I want to check and make sure that my foot's fitting well onto the inner sole template. Then what I want to do is make sure that the length of the shoe is okay. So, if I just sort of turn a little bit side on here, so same sort of thing. Foot sitting in the back there. What I want to be sure of is that there's at least a thumbnail's length between the end of my longest toe and the end of the shoe, or the end of the inner sole template. So whether I'm looking at my second toe or my big toe, which are both about an equal length for me on my foot, some people have got a long second toe, but just make sure you are checking from the end of your longest toe to the end of the shoe, just to make sure that it is the correct length.